Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski. Welcome back to Road to PokeMMO Season 3, Episode 10. This is a sort of series where we play through a main region on PokeMMO and build up a main account from scratch. In Season 1, we started totally from scratch, made our first 1 million Pokeyen playing through the Kanto region, then we moved over to the Unova region in Season 2, built a competitive PvP team from scratch, and learned the OU metagame from scratch. Did quite well there, and now here we are in Season 3, mostly playing through the Hoenn region at the moment, with the back-end goal of making 10 million Pokeyen. Now, obviously, I'm currently in the Unova region because I'm going to have to travel between multiple regions to access multiple money-making methods, and because this is such a huge challenge this season. And since this season's challenge is so huge and specific, where it's a lot of money making, it's a lot of grinding, it's a lot of long-term progress, I'm going to have to make a couple structure changes to this season. Historically, I've always tried to release episodes for Road to PokeMMO every 3 days. So every 3 days, you would see a new episode come out. However, for this new season, it takes a lot longer to record each episode. And there's a lot more quality, a lot more time involved. So as of episode 10, I'm going to be trying to maintain a release schedule of every 5 days. That's right, every 5 days from now on, there will be a new Road to PokeMMO video. Now, I would love your guys' feedback on this. I can shorten it to 3 days, again, if you guys want to see just shorter videos. But I like to try to shoot towards around 20 minutes per video, similar to an episode structure. But for every 5 days will be the current schedule, and we might actually have to adjust this at some point to where it's just whenever I can upload, because once we start getting into those later grinds, it's going to be tougher and tougher to make larger and larger amounts of Pokeyen. The way I'm kind of thinking about it, and the checkpoints I'm looking forward to are, 500k is 5% of the challenge done, 1 million Pokeyen is 10% of the challenge done. Those are sort of the things I really want to start looking out for and setting milestones on this account, since we're going for such a large overarching goal. But I think that's enough talking about how actually large this goal is. Let's actually just go ahead and start working towards this gigantic goal. Let's go do a gym run. Alright, yo, what's up? It's been a while since I've been able to record a clip, but we went ahead and did the gym run, got the cash stack up to 522k, and now we're also sitting on a Gyarados that I need to sell, I believe. Yes, this nice, mediocre comp Gyarados. We're going to go ahead and list that, and then I have a plan I'll talk to you guys about. I think I'm honestly going to go ahead and list this Gyarados for just 40k or so. Yeah, I think 40k under that guy, right under that. Yeah, mine's Bashful Nature. These have like Gentle and stuff, which is honestly like, I guess, a little more hurtful. This one's Lonely at 60k. Yeah, not a very expensive Gyarados, but you know what? That's the point of mediocre comps. It's just fun. It's enjoyable. You make a little bit of money from nothing. And I don't know. I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorite money making methods for whatever reason. Alright, now, let's go ahead and talk about my plan, the next money-making method that I want to start working towards, and I need to develop a certain Pokemon to get to it. I want to try to Payday at Undella Bay, because people have been talking about it, and I would love to test it and do another video about that. So, my plan is to start developing a level 100 Payday pickup Meowth. Now, you might have noticed in my PC earlier, I actually do have a level 68 Persian, but to pick up properly and to Payday properly, you really need a Pokemon with the pickup ability. And for those who don't know, Persian loses access to the pickup ability. You have to have it be a Meowth. I'll show you guys in the Pokedex really quickly. Hopefully I can. So yeah, Meowth has access to pickup and Technician. I believe Persian is Limber in Technician, so it loses that pickup. And you'd be surprised like how like 60% of your profits per hour actually come from the pickup ability and not the Payday itself, which is really crucial, obviously, right? So I'm going to have to get started on making a Meowth. I'm not sure if I'm going to just go ahead and straight up buy a level 100 one or buy a cheap low level one and level it up myself. I'm not quite sure. We'll get to that decision hopefully soon. Alright, after checking Meowth prices on the GTL, I think I'm going to go ahead and just breed one from scratch and sort of breed my own, because it'll be nice to have a Meowth with my OT on it. I've always liked that. Having Pokemon you'll be using for a really long time, have your OT on it, it's a nice little special feeling, and it's a cool thing to do. So I'm going to pick up that Meowth for 3k, super cheap, go pick up a Ditto, and then start this breed. Alright, I found this Ditto for a nice 4,500, super cheap. I'm going to be bracing the Lonely Nature, or Everstoning the Lonely Nature on the Ditto, and just letting the IVs pass. Really cheap breed, 6k or so, 4k for the Ditto, 5k for the Everstone, which I'll have to go buy, and then 3k for the Meowth. Overall, it's like, what, a 12k or so breed. Really cheap breed. here's what it's going to look like going through. There we go, coming out Lonely Nature, which works out perfectly. I'll be able to have it be mixed as well. I can put Hyper Voice on it as if I want, which is super nice. Having the option to have Hyper Voice on Meowth is super relevant. For those who don't know, you can actually use Pick Up Meowth as a AoE horde attacker with Hyper Voice, which is an AoE normal special type move though, which gets in the way of some of Meowth's damage, obviously. So you have to be a little careful and plan that properly before making your Meowth. Okay, now the easy part's done, but now comes the hard part. I have to wait for it to hatch, and then I'm going to have to EV train it and level it for a very long time. So I will see you guys with the start of that journey. Alright, the Meowth is hatched, so now it is time for the next step in the process. But remember, we don't want to EV train just one Pokemon. That would be a waste. We want to make sure we get multiple Pokemon in our party to EV train. So it's time to look for some more. You guys remember, mediocre comps to EV train up. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and make my IV spreads look kind of like this on the GTL to look for some sort of Pokemon that might need 252 attack and 252 speed. Ooh, this Mienfoo. It's mild nature, but honestly, it's a great offensive Pokemon. Maybe I should just buy this and rebreed it, honestly. I think that Mienfoo is too good to pass up. I'm not sure if I'll just EV train it as is, or I might go ahead and end up just rebreeding it really quick to change the nature. Getting a good nature on this could make this a really good competitive Mienshao. There actually just so happens to be another Mienfoo here as well. I'm surprised someone must have caught some Mienfoo or farmed some Mienfoo and is selling these for pretty cheap. For those who don't know, Mienshao is like a really powerful OU Pokemon that honestly I don't understand enough, so it'd be really cool. I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. Well, we'll definitely have to rebreed that since it's calm nature, but you know what? This is a really good chance in the perfect series to learn about a new Pokemon that I wouldn't traditionally use, and honestly, I'm really excited about that. I don't know much about Mienshao. I talk about this a lot. It's a really interesting, really cool competitive Pokemon. Has access to U-Turn, Stab, Close Combat, and Regenerator, which obviously combos with that U-Turn, so it's a really interesting Pokemon. Alright, I did also lower the speed stat to 20 in the search, and I found this Geodude for 2600, and I just can't pass up on this. This is perfect. It's naive nature, which honestly isn't the worst. I can go ahead and train this 252 attack, 252 speed, and this can be a perfect beginner Golem comp for people, and Golem is a really nice Pokemon in NU as well. Having access to Stealth Rocks, Rapid Spin, it utilizes Sturdy plus Custap Berry for a lot of different purposes, so a great Pokemon. Now, we have our 4 Pokemon we will be EV training. I just need to go ahead and head over to the daycare and breed up these Mienfoo, breed off these natures. So we're going to find some Ditto breeders for that now. Alright, it looks like I found the breeder for our first Mienfoo, which is the female one. This is a naughty Hitmonlee, so I'm going to Everstone the nature and then Speed Brace over on the Mienfoo. So it's going to be a little bit of an investment here, at least 20k to rebreed this thing, but I think it's going to be super worth it. Alright, I was about to say, here's what the first breed is looking like, but you guys might notice the small issue. There is currently a star next to my cool duder, which means I don't have Mienfoo caught OT in my Pokedex. So, you know what? It's worth to go ahead and go fix that really quick. I really like to make sure I have something caught OT in my dex before breeding it, just in case it comes out shiny. You never want to risk that OT, so I'm going to go catch one really quick. Ran into a Druddigon on the way to Mienfoo, so I might as well go ahead and catch that and add that to the Pokedex as well. Alright, I did take 2 Ultra Balls, but there's the Druddigon caught. Added to the Pokedex. Any decent IVs? Nothing, but that's okay. Back to Mienfoo hunt. And there we go. Next encounter, right on cue. Perfect timing. A female Mienfoo. I'll take it. Alright, only one Great Ball to take down the Mienfoo. Hopefully, don't really need any good IVs, but it'd be a little added bonus. Naughty nature. No real IVs, but that's okay. Now that we have it added to the Pokedex, we can go finally breed these Mienfoo. Back to the initial challenge. I feel like that's such a PokeMMO thing, you know, you want to do one thing, so you start doing one thing, then realize you have to do another thing, and then that leads to a separate task, and then yada yada yada. It's very similar to the UIM playstyle of RuneScape, which is maybe why I love the game mode or the game so much, where you would start to do one thing and then realize, oh, I need my looting bag, sacrifice, or no, I need all this stuff, and you probably have no idea what I'm talking about if you don't know anything about old school RuneScape or anything about Ultimate Iron Man, but it's a very similar thought process or play style of, hey, one thing leads to the next, and then all of a sudden you're doing a sort of laundry list of gameplay stuff, and it's fun. I like it. It's enjoyable. Alright, one egg is metaphorically incubating. It's time to go ahead and find a breeder for the next one, but as you guys might have saw in real time, our Gyarados actually just sold, so I'll go ahead and yoink that 40k. We just listed that, so super happy with that. That's awesome. That was a super fair price as well. And literally the very first Ditto I checked that fits the IVs of this. Oh no, it's missing the defense. Oh, never mind. Oh, that would have been so good. It was adamant nature and everything. Ugh, I got bamboozled. I did go ahead and find a Ditto for around 11k, and this person marked their Ditto as noted, which hopefully means they are a viewer, so shout out to Mr. Nut. Pretty awesome. Happy to pick up your Ditto. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up a speed anklet here to brace over the speed stat, and then once again another Everstone on this Ditto to put the Jolly Nature over onto Meowth. I believe that Jolly Nature is actually the preferred one. I should honestly check the PvP statistics on this before I bred it, but you know what? We're kind of just memeing it today. Yeah, Meowth. Wow, almost a 12% usage rate. This Pokemon is a lot more commonly used than I realized, and yeah, Jolly Nature, because if I'm not mistaken, I think Meowth rocked around an 80 base stat speed or so, around that stat number, if I'm correct. So you really want to bump up that speed to a decent extent and be as fast as possible. Get those U-turn regenerators off is pretty huge. Let's go ahead and look at the breed. Let's see what it's looking like. 25 plus, beautiful, beautiful, 20 plus, 20 plus, 30 speed, Jolly. Just fantastic Pokemon coming out there. Don't need to worry about the gender. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's get a Flame Body Pokemon to speed up these eggs as well. They are coming along slowly. Alright, both Meowths have hatched. It's time to go EV train. I'll go ahead and show you what everything looks like here in a quick sec. Alright, here we are at my favorite attack spot at Bouffalant. I'll go ahead and show you guys what everything looked like at the moment. Geodude, Naive Nature. It's going to work well enough. Meowth, this one is Jolly Nature, which is preferred. 28 attack, 30 speed. I might end up keeping one of these Meowth. I think I'll probably end up keeping the Jolly one. It's super fantastic, super decent. I would love to have a Meowth comp, but I think that would be a really good thing for me to learn about. You know, learning about how to pilot different Pokemon and how to use them properly. It'll be a really fun part of this series, just developing a main account and also learning a ton myself. Even though I'm a veteran player, like learning a ton of stuff along the way. There's just so much to always learn about this game. I've never piloted a Meowth, you know, out of the 9 years I've played this game, which is just, it's bound to happen, right? So all these Pokemon look pretty freaking good. I'm pretty excited. No 31 surprisingly, but just really good stats across the board. You want to have those natures. Natures are so much more important than IVs, and that's one of the things I want to push across. One of my favorite videos I've ever made, honestly, is a pretty underrated video, but I think it resonated with a lot of people, showing the difference between the power levels of Nature and IV, and it compared two Scrafties, one of them with 5 attack IV, and the other with a 5 attack IV with a plus attack Nature, and the other Scrafty with a 31 attack IV with a neutral Nature, and the 5 attack IV actually did more damage, or at least the same damage. So it's crazy where, you know, a 5 IV is equal to a 31 IV when you have the correct nature versus the 31 IV having neutral nature. It's crazy. I can't tell you enough how important having the correct nature is, and how much more important that is than the actual IVs. It's pretty nuts, especially when looking for like more casual or kind of just decent enough Pokemon. But I've got a lot of Pokemon to train, so I'm going to go ahead and get to that, and I will see you guys soon. Alright, only 2 hordes left and I'll be done with the attack EVs. I wanted to take this quick set to talk about a couple things. First of all, I brought up my encounter counter, which I totally forgot to bring up until now, which was nice to track those encounters. And it's always nice to know how long it takes to get a shiny and everything. It's just a cool thing to know. And then secondly, I wanted to talk about a big reason, I guess, why I wanted to create this Meowth right now. Meowth. Why I wanted to create it right now. A huge reason is because the economy right now in PokeMMO, as I'm recording this, which is on September 23rd, 2022. So you're probably watching this a lot after I'm recording it, and the economy might be a lot changed or a lot different by then. But essentially, the economy right now is at its slowest in PokeMMO, and for good reason. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad time for it to be slow. It only makes sense that it's at its slowest point. So right now we are in this middle ground area where people have just been going back into school. School has started up. Teachers are back to work. All this stuff. People are back in college, etc., etc. So this is usually kind of the lowest point of PokeMMO because we're between summer and between the Halloween event. So we're between two major things where people got off for the summer, played a ton, grinded a lot. Now they're kind of burnt out, right? They want to take a little bit of a break, but people also want to make money and save up for the Halloween event. So right now, there's a lot of factors essentially. There's a smaller player base on average around this time, as well as people are spending less money on average around this time because people want to save up for investments for the upcoming Halloween event. It's really important to save up your capital. You don't want to be spending. That's what I'm doing on my main account. I've been spending very little money, and I've just been saving up capital, doing my gym run every day, making sure I build that up to be able to make those safe investments. So I think a lot of people are making the same decisions in that regard. So there's just less players, less people spending money, less money being injected into the economy. So it's just a much slower economy overall. So the point of this was that it's really hard right now to sell these mediocre competitive Pokemon or, you know, good IV Pokemon, stuff is just selling slower. You still can breed for profit and do all the stuff that I've been doing in these episodes, but it's just going to take a lot longer for it to sell, and I want to try to avoid that if possible. So as a TLDR, the point of making this Meowth was to be able to make some direct Pokeyen via Payday and focus on that money-making method and those methods while I can. Now, doing some really basic money-making methods like catching Pokemon and selling them for like 1x31s, those are definitely still worth it. But when you look towards more complicated things like selling 20 plus and 5 stats or these mediocre comps, now is like the worst time to be doing this. And I really just made a mistake, I guess, by going so hard into that, but I just missed that money-making method so much. So I definitely don't regret it, but I want to make sure I look at, you know, evaluate the economy and figure out what's best to do right now. It's a really important thing with PokeMMO and any sort of MMO is evaluating the economy, which is ever changing, and understanding what is the best money-making method right now. It's constantly changing in PokeMMO. I mean, obviously, gym reruns are really the best, and you should be doing those every single day. But other than that, what do you do after, right? That's a really important thing. So I wanted to talk about that for a little bit and talk about the stages of the economy and the fluctuation of it. I'm going to go ahead and get back to EV training, get back to speed EVs right here at Rapidash. I will see you guys at 252. Alright, Meowth has hit level 28, which means we are officially in the dangerous part of the leveling cycle, and I'll show you guys exactly why that is. Alright, so from this level all the way until 99, I'm going to have to make sure I avoid Meowth evolving into Persian. It is absolutely crucial that I do not miss an evolution the entire time. I cannot tell you how many Persians or Meowths I have ruined by missing this evolution. If anyone's ever leveled a Meowth in PokeMMO like this, you know what I mean. You have to cancel it. It's so scary because if you do end up evolving it, you end up having to sell your Persian and just start from scratch because you need it to be a Meowth. You need that pickup. That pickup is going to be bringing in 60% of your income, as I talked about earlier. It's a really big deal. So you have to make sure. This is one of the scariest things to do, and I've messed up so many of these before and it sucks. So I'm going to try my best to not make a mistake on this Meowth. I promise you guys. Alright, this should be the last horde. We'll put these guys at 252 speed, and then I'll add, I think, 2 of them. So I'll be adding the Naughty Meowth and the Graveler to the pile of things to level up during my gym runs, which also contains 2 Gyarados right now. And then I'll actually just go ahead and I guess I'll add this to that pile as well. But the Meowth, I might actually spend some time actively leveling outside of just gym runs, but we'll see. It depends on how long it would take and how many gym runs it would need. Let's see, 252 speed looking nice. Let's go clean up and put over some HP EVs like I always do over at the Stunfisk spot. Also, we get a slight little chance at a shiny Stunfisk, one of my favorite shinies in the game. Alright, a nice spot to go to clean up those EVs, looking super nice. Let's go head over to the PC and get things sorted. Alright, here we are at the PC. Let's go ahead and toss these guys in here. I like how we're actually stocking up on these Pokemon to be leveled. That's exactly what I wanted, to get that little bit of extra value out of those gym runs. I really like to see that. It's a very satisfying feeling to just have these stocked up and have things to level. We currently have 6 Pokemon, 5 of which we need leveled to level 50. This Meowth, we're going to take all the way to level 100 eventually. But I want to make sure that I'm not wasting any sort of time or other sort of, I guess, opportunities while leveling this Meowth. So I don't want to just go level it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do a very specific money-making method where I'm going to show you guys. It's going to be farming flame orbs. I've actually done an hour of this before, or a couple hours of it, I guess, on my channel, showing you guys the loot from and showing you guys how decent this money-making method can be. I believe I made around 120k per hour the last time I did this money-making method. We're going to be here at the Pokemon League in Unova, running all the way down to the mountain and then running down to the bottom of the mountain. I'll show you guys the path right here, and then I'll explain it. You do need a very specific Pokemon for this money-making method. As you can see, I have this beautiful Baynet that was actually gifted to me by Best Friends, or Roy Rogers News on YouTube, who's a really cool PokeMMO YouTuber. This thing has Thief and Frisk in its level 100, and I'll be able to Sweet Scent in this location, encounter a horde of Heatmore, and then Frisk will let me know if they have a Flame Orb or not. I believe Flame Orbs should be around 10k or so at the moment, usually around 8 to 12k, so no Frisk, no item there. Let's go ahead and go over to the actual GTL and see what Flame Orbs are looking like. Yeah, around 10k. Yeah, around 10k or so, 9k, 9.5 to 10k. So pretty decent price on those. Should be able to make around 100k an hour at least. I think I got 12 or so in the 1 hour I did from the loot from 1 hour, and so I made around 120k. Pretty simple.
I do want to have XP share on this, and then there we go. So perfect example, we see an item. So I'm not going to be getting much XP from this, but essentially I'm going to be thieving around, killing all of the Heatmores, and this method does a lot of things. First of all, it's going to get some small amount of XP on my Meowth. I admit not much, but second of all, it's also going to allow me to make some really decent Pokeyen per hour, and third of all, it's going to allow me to shiny hunt, and shiny Heatmore is a shiny that I've wanted for a very long time, so it's a sort of 3-in-1 perfect method for this exact situation, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of it and get back to you guys. Alright, looks like I was able to thief off the item. You can tell because it'll have access to the flame orb immediately. Make sure that after each battle, when you do this, make sure to take the flame orb off the bayonet, or you won't be able to thief another flame orb from the next horde you do, if you so happen to encounter multiple flame orbs in one inventory of Sweet Sense. But that's how the method works. I do have a 1-hour video on that if you want to see more in detail. But we started this grind at around 13,280 encounters, so keep track of that to see how far we go. Alright, I've been grinding for about 2 hours now, made about around an hour and 20 minutes or so of progress, about to hit, I believe, 1,000 encounters gained throughout this grind, which is pretty nice. I mean, almost gonna hit 14,280 encounters, which is super solid. Unfortunately, we did not have the best luck in this hour, definitely not too many flame orbs. Thankfully, I did avoid a couple more evolutions on my Meowth, which is always nice to see. I'll show you guys the flame orbs here in a quick sec, but on another note, we also hit 200 hours of total playtime on the Cool Duder account, which is always a cool milestone. Every 100 or so, at some point, you know, every 1,000 hours is a really big milestone. Go ahead and show you guys. I believe I started this grind with 2 flame orbs already in my bag, so I only got around 5. That's really not that good, definitely pretty unlucky, but it just happens for sure. I'd say on average, I've done this spot for a long amount of time. I'd say on average, you get around 10 per hour, maybe like 8 to 12 as a good range. So kind of an unfortunate hour, but that's okay. Definitely happens. RNG should even out. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this run and hit up the PC and talk to you guys there. All right, here I am hitting 14,300 encounters. Let's go ahead and finally head back to the PC. No more flame orbs. We'll go ahead and list those and make the small profit we'll get. All right, gonna go ahead and list these for 9,487, which is slightly undercutting the cheapest one listed at the moment, which is pretty nice. They should sell hopefully decently quickly. And I think this is going to be a really good place to call it. Hopefully, I will see you guys in episode 11. These episodes are definitely taking a lot longer to record now, but part of me kind of likes it. You know, it's a lot of time, but it's nice. I casually load up OBS and record everything and kind of just casually play through the account as I normally would. It's really starting to feel even more like a main account, which is really incredible. So hopefully, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a like on it. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos, content, guides, and everything of the sort. Check out the Discord link down below to join a really cool community and see what's up with that. And if you want to go above and beyond and support the channel, you can do so via YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, or most importantly, PayPal/Venmo. Never needed, but it is appreciated. It allows me to focus on making the best content possible. I really appreciate your all time. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a great day, and I will see you guys over on episode 11. Hopefully, we can set a really cool milestone. Maybe we can push towards that first 1 million Pokeyen towards the 10 mil journey.